What is up, awesome people, and welcome to Trivia Tuesday podcast. My name is Lady KrimZen, and in today's episode, we're going to be taking a look once again at the recently revealed Pokemon Magearna, and why I do believe this Pokemon is going to be an event Pokemon. Alrighty, so as always, a small disclaimer. Anything I say in regards to Magearna is not to be taken as fact, as Game Freak can turn around and do the unexpected, which they have done in the past, so again, take this with a bit of grain of salt and do not take this as pure fact. Alright, so the first thing I want to take a look at is an article that the official Pokemon website posted, and that is an article of when Magearna was revealed, and it had the headline, "A new mythical Pokemon has been discovered." So straight off the bat there, that's kind of like the huge hint that Magearna is going to be an event Pokemon, as one of the clear characteristics of a mythical Pokemon is that majority of them consist of event Pokemon and are given away through like mystery gift or any of those serial code events. So it's most likely that Magearna will be an event Pokemon, unless of course it does go through the same exceptions that Deoxys did in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, where it was available as a Pokemon to catch in the game, so that technically does classify it as a legendary Pokemon. So most legendary Pokemon, by definition, are incredibly rare and often very powerful Pokemon, generally featured predominantly in the legends and myths of the Pokemon world. So since Game Freak, or the Pokemon company, did put forward that it's a mythical Pokemon, or in the Japanese article it does say it's an illusionary Pokemon, which is basically the same thing. It's kind of like related to legendary Pokemon, but at the same time, mythical Pokemon are a group of Pokemon seen so rarely that some question their very existence. This category mostly consists of event Pokemon, with the exception of Deoxys, which, as I said, can be caught actually in the game on Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And obviously the other fact that we need to put forward is, even if Magearna is put as an event Pokemon, it is not required to complete the Pokédex. So if it is a Pokemon seen in the upcoming Pokemon games, Pokemon Moon and Sun, which there is an extremely high chance of it happening, you will not need to obtain Magearna to complete the Pokédex for that particular game. So just a quick background explanation on legendary and mythical Pokemon as well. For those who weren't even aware that mythical Pokemon was a category, I really don't blame you, because prior to Generation 5, in all the media that we saw in the Western regions, legendary and mythical Pokemon were considered to be of the same particular group, which was legendary. So it didn't matter where you read up on a particular Pokemon, whether it be like Mew or Celebi, before Generation 5, they were considered legendary Pokemon. So that's kind of why I don't blame people for saying that they weren't aware that mythical Pokemon existed. So another thing as well, we'll go into this as well while we're on the topic. If Magearna is indeed an event Pokemon, as the article states it is, it will not be available for trade over the global trade system, or GTS for short. Since of Generation 6, they cannot be traded via GTS due to the fact that all mythical Pokemon carry the classic ribbon, which prevents them from being traded. There's not really any other defining characteristics of a legendary or mythical Pokemon, so other than not being able to trade through the GTS system or through Wonder Trade, that's pretty much it for what will come with Magearna. As I said though, Game Freak can turn around and make Magearna somewhat similar to Deoxys and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. They can make it something that they can be caught in the game, kind of redefining its categorization. So I'm not too sure now if Deoxys is now considered a legendary Pokemon due to the fact it can be caught in game, or is it still considered a mythical Pokemon. Judging from what Game Freak may do, they may make it Deoxys in future events now a Pokemon only available through mystery gift. So having said that, that would put Magearna, I think, from Generation 6, just trying to find the note here. There were 15 mythical Pokemon, 16 if you do count Phione at the moment. Phione's a bit of a debate Pokemon to whether it is a mythical Pokemon or if in fact it's just a normal Pokemon, since Manaphy is a mythical Pokemon. However, to get Phione, you do need to breed it, which kind of does go by kind of excluding the whole mythical Pokemon fact that all mythical Pokemon usually are obtained through events. So the fact that Phione is not obtained through an event rather than through breeding, as I said, it's kind of in debate if it is indeed a mythical Pokemon. Nintendo hasn't actually come forward and given us an official statement on that. But yeah, there was 15 or 16 mythical Pokemon in total in Generation 6. So at the moment, Magearna, at this rate, is the 17th mythical Pokemon to be introduced to us. Now, another thing people are wondering is its base stats. So on average, most mythical Pokemon have a total base stat of 700. That's 100 in each base stat. 600. I don't know why I said 700. That shows I'm asleep at the moment. So yeah, it'll most likely have a total base stat of 600. However though, just looking at the overall statistical averages for Steel-type Pokemon, I mean, without a doubt, in the first podcast episode, I did predict Magearna will most likely be a Steel-type Pokemon, since it is, in its description, they do describe it as a metallic Pokemon, I do believe, or an artificial Pokemon, which kind of gives away it will be a Steel-type Pokemon. So going by that theory, you'll most likely have a pretty high defense, since if we look at the fully evolved chart for Steel-type Pokemon, on average it's about 124.26 is on average for defense, so it'll most likely have quite high defense. The other theory I had as well was going to be Steel Fairy type, so if it is going to be a Steel Fairy type, just looking at again the average for Fairy type Pokemon, Fairy type Pokemon actually have pretty high special defense, so on average 101.35 for fully evolved Fairy type Pokemon. So again, just going by that, it will most likely be that Magearna will have probably the same in defense and special defense being quite high. The HP isn't actually looking all that great for Steel types, and it's about a little bit better for Fairy typing, so I'd say it'd probably be at least 100 in base health. I'd be saying that at absolute minimum, health of 100, given it's the fact that it's a mythical Pokemon. Most mythical Pokemon do have on average 100 health. Maybe just a little bit less, it could drop down to 90, since the statistical average is about 93.13 for HP. Unfortunately though, in defense wise, for actual legendary and mythical Pokemon, it's about 99.42, so I say about it'd be just a little bit over 100 for its defense in regards to Magearna's defense. Other than that though, there's not really too much else I can really say. I've gone through this video, like, this is probably the 11th recording I've done for this video because I've had to redo it so many times. But that's pretty much all I wanted to cover, but yeah, there's a really good chance that Magearna will be an event Pokemon. I'd hate to say it because people hate the event Pokemon so much, but yeah, I kind of hate to break it to you. It will most likely be an event Pokemon in Pokemon Sun and Moon, just going by the that one particular article. As I said, I'm only going by that one article since that's all that's been given to us in regards to Magearna. The fact that they did write it's a mythical Pokemon, and just going by the definitions that have been presented to us from the Pokemon company, that all mythical Pokemon so far have been event Pokemon, with the exception of 2 being Deoxys and Phione. Alright guys, that's pretty much it. So hopefully the next Pokemon Sun and Moon discussion that I have is going to be a little bit more complex in a way. I have started noting all that stuff down in my research and all that. That'll most likely come out on Friday, since it's going to be quite a big video, so keep an eye out for that. Until then, of course, this is Lady KrimZen saying ciao for now, but not forever. Ciao!